The story of Zendaya. When people say the name Zendaya, they usually pause for a second. Not because they don't recognize it, but because it carries weight. Zendaya. Actress, performer, producer, cultural figure. But none of those labels, on their own, really explain her. To understand her story, you have to go back. Before the red carpets, before the awards, before the global franchises, to Oakland, California. Zendaya Maree Stoermer Coleman was born on September 1, 1996 in Oakland. Her upbringing wasn't built around Hollywood. It was structured around education, discipline, and art. Her mother worked as a teacher. Her father played a significant role in managing her early career. Performance wasn't just a dream in her household, it was part of daily life. As a child, she trained at the California Shakespeare Theater, not exactly the typical starting point for a future Disney Channel star. Shakespeare demands attention to language, timing, breath control, listening. Those early experiences appear to have shaped her in ways that became visible much later. She also studied dance, seriously. Hip-hop, hula, contemporary forms. Dance taught control, awareness of space, how to communicate without words. That physical intelligence would become one of her quiet strengths on screen. Then came 2010. Shake It Up. Suddenly, she was in living rooms across America, playing Rocky Blue alongside Bella Thorne. It was bright, fast, youthful, designed for energy more than nuance. Disney Channel has launched many careers, but it can also confine them. The performances are broad, the characters often simplified. Yet, even then, there was something slightly different about her presence. She didn't overplay reactions. She held back just enough. It was subtle, but noticeable. Around the same time, she began releasing music. Her 2013 single, Replay, charted on the Billboard Hot 100. The sound fit the Disney-to-pop formula, polished, radio-friendly, but music never seemed like her sole destination. It felt exploratory, a chapter, not the entire book. In 2013, she competed on Dancing with the Stars. Week after week, she delivered controlled, technical performances and ultimately finished as runner-up. That show expanded her audience. Adults who had never watched Disney saw a young performer with discipline and focus. Then came a small but significant shift. KC Undercover. This time, she wasn't just starring, she was producing. That matters. As Casey Cooper, a math genius turned undercover spy, she pushed for more realistic dialogue and more grounded characterization. She was still within the Disney system, but she was learning how to shape her own narrative. When the series ended in 2018, she faced the challenge every former child star faces. What comes next? The answer arrived in 2017 with Spider-Man: Homecoming, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Cast opposite Tom Holland, she played Michelle, later revealed as MJ. But this wasn't the traditional portrayal audiences expected. Her MJ was dry, observant, slightly detached. She delivered humor without pushing it. Some fans debated the reinvention, but over time, her version of MJ became central to the emotional spine of the series, especially in Spider-Man: No Way Home, which became a global box office phenomenon. At the same time, she appeared in The Greatest Showman alongside Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron. As Ann Wheeler, a trapeze artist navigating racism within spectacle, she performed her own aerial stunts. The film itself divided critics, but her performance, committed, physical, controlled. Then, in 2019, everything shifted. Euphoria. This was not Disney. Not even close. As Rue Bennett, a teenager struggling with addiction and mental illness, Zendaya stepped into territory that was raw, uncomfortable, and deeply human. The performance avoided melodrama. She didn't beg the audience for sympathy. Rue could be manipulative,
self-destructive, sharp-tongued, and painfully vulnerable. In 2020, she won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, becoming the youngest winner in that category at the time. She won again in 2022. Awards don't define a career, but they do signal recognition. Her portrayal of Rue demanded emotional stamina, long scenes of confrontation, physical depiction of withdrawal, moments of stillness that felt heavier than dialogue. It was no longer possible to see her as the former Disney actress. She followed that with Malcolm and Marie, opposite John David Washington. Shot in black and white during pandemic restrictions, the film unfolded almost entirely inside one house, extended arguments, emotional shifts, no spectacle to hide behind. Reactions were mixed. Her performance was not. Then came science fiction on an epic scale. Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve and based on Dune. In the first installment, her character, Chani, appeared briefly, almost like a vision, but in Dune Part 2, she became central, strong, grounded, unimpressed by prophecy. Across genres, superhero films, musicals, intimate dramas, science fiction, one pattern emerges: restraint. She rarely overacts, she often lets silence do the work. Off-screen, another dimension developed: fashion. With stylist Law Roach, she turned red carpet appearances into statements. At events like the Met Gala, she has worn archival couture, structured suits, and conceptual gowns that reference history or cinema. The clothes are rarely random, they communicate. She has also spoken thoughtfully about representation in Hollywood, particularly regarding colorism and the limited roles historically offered to young black actresses. Her commentary is measured, analytical, not performative. Perhaps that's the key to her longevity so far: measured. In an industry that often rewards loudness, she moves strategically, expands carefully, chooses projects that stretch rather than repeat. By her late 20s, she had already won multiple Emmys, anchored billion-dollar franchises, and built influence in fashion, all while maintaining a level of privacy that feels unusual in the social media era. What comes next? That remains open. She has begun producing more actively. She may return to theater one day. She may take on historical roles or disappear briefly to recalibrate. What seems clear is this: Zendaya is not chasing noise. She is building something steadier. And perhaps that is what makes her career worth watching. Not just the success, but the intention behind it. Because from Oakland stages to global premieres, the through line has never been hype. It has been control. And control in Hollywood is rare.